In this first question, they ask us to calculate the future value of an investment of 15,000 Rand after 3 years at an interest rate of 15% per annum. If the compounding is annually, that's how we did it in grade 10, half yearly, that means twice a year, quarterly, that means 4 times a year, monthly, that means 12 times per year. So we're going to discuss the same question, but we're going to look at all 4 of them, and we're going to see how they compare to one another. Let's do this question. So we're going to invest 15,000 Rand for 3 years at an interest rate of 15% per annum. And we're going to use compound interest. So A is equal to P, 1 plus I to the N. You remember the depreciation, the compound depreciation, there was a minus, which we discussed in the previous sessions. Now, this first problem, we're going to do the compounding annually. So that means once a year. Now, when we do it annually once a year, we don't need to do any adjustments. We can just substitute. So we want to work out the future value, which is the A. Our present value, that is the money that we will invest, is 15,000 Rand. 1 plus the interest rate is given to us at 15%. We divide it by 100, so that is 0.15. We're going to invest it for 3 years. And now we just work out our answer on our calculator. So you will agree, a little bit of revision from grade 10, really not too difficult. So we say 15,000, we multiply with 1 plus 0.15 and our exponent of 3 for the number of years. So if I round it off to 2 decimals, my answer for this one, 22,813 Rand. And if I round it off to 2, it will be 13 because it's 125. Third decimal is 5, so that means the second decimal will increase to 3. So that will be my future value. So the 15,000 Rand will grow to 22,800 if the interest rate is 15% and the compounding is annually. Let's now do the same problem, the same formula, but we change it now to semi-annually, half yearly, and we see how these answers will differ. So when we do semi-annually, good advice is that you adjust your formula for half yearly. So A equal to P, 1 plus your I, which is your rate divided by 100, we're now going to divide it by 2 for half yearly because we want the calculation to be twice a year. And then our exponent, we will now multiply by 2. So if it's half yearly, you say I over 2, and the exponent, you say 2 times the number of years, because that gives you the number of half years. So everything must now change to half years. Your interest rate, half year, your time period, the number of, not number of years, but number of half years. And if you do this adjustment, it makes it much easier when you do your substitution. So let's substitute now. It is your 15,000 Rand. You say 1 plus the I, the same as that one, the 0.15, the 15%. You put it over 2, and then you say 2 times, and how many years? The investment is for 3 years. So that exponent will be 6. So now we put it onto our calculator, and we work it out. So same thing as what we did, 15,000 Rand. Only difference now is we divide now the 0.15 over 2, so you just use your fraction button. So you say 1 plus, I use my fraction button, 0.15 in the numerator, 2 in the denominator. You close the bracket, and your exponent, you may put in your 6 straight away. And because you know 2 times 3, of course, is 6. Otherwise, you can put that multiplication also onto your calculator, doesn't matter. And now your answer is 23,149 and 52 cents. So as you now can see that the moment the compounding increase, so in the first problem, the compounding was done yearly. That means once a year. Now we did it twice per year. And as you can see, 22,800, now your future value will be 23,149. So you can see you gain more interest if the compounding is done more times per year. Let's now look at the next one, which is the quarterly one, the C part. And we expect this also to increase because this will be 4 times per year. So what we do is, again, we're going to adjust this formula. Remember, this is your compound interest formula. This formula is when it's calculated yearly. Semi-annually, we divide by 2, we times by 2. Quarterly, what do you expect? We divide by 4 times by 4. And then we will look at monthly. So we say A equal to P, 1 plus I over 4, 4n. Because the moment you substitute n, which is the number of years in, times by 4, gives you the number of quarters. So let's do the substitution. So we have the amount that we invest is 15,000 Rand. 1 plus the interest rate still the same, 0.15, remember? That was our 15% interest rate. It's now over 4, and it's 4 times 3. 2 times 3 in this one. In the first one, it was basically 1 times 3, or just 3. Again, we just put that onto our calculator, and you use your fraction button to do that one again. So we say 15,000 Rand. We multiply it with 1 plus, and I open my fraction, 0.15. Now, very important, 4 in your denominator for quarterly. And then we close the bracket, and then we raise it to the power of 4 times 3, which you all know is equal to 12. And the answer, as you can see on your calculator, I've got 23,331 Rand to 2 decimals. It will be 81 cents. So you can see the increase is not a lot of money, but of course it is more, and more is better, né? Because it's money in your pocket when you invest money. So 23,149, 23,331. Let's now look at the last part of this question, and that is where we're going to compound this interest monthly. So that means 12 times a year. So we will say A is equal to P 1 plus, and what do you expect I'm going to do here? I'm going to divide it by 12. And then I'm going to say 12 times n. Divide by 12, 12n. So please remember, 4 ways they can ask these questions. Annually, the easiest one. Semi-annually, twice a year. Divide by 2 times by 2. Then quarterly, divide by 4 times 4. Monthly, which is a very popular one because that is basically our real life problem, and that is 12. So we substitute our 15,000, 1 plus my I is 0.15 over 12, and now it is 12 times 3. Remember the number of years? Equal to 3, so you say 12 times 3. So let's use our calculators and let's see what happens if we compound the interest on a monthly basis. So we say the 15,000 Rand again. We open the bracket, 1 plus my fraction, 0.15, 12 in the denominator, close the bracket, raise it to the power, and now 12 times 3, I hope you know what that is mentally. Otherwise, you can put the multiplication in on your calculator, not a problem, but 12 times 3, of course, is 36 months now, number of months. You push the equal, and you will get an answer of 23,459 Rand and 16 cents. So as you can see, again, the interest is a little bit more than the quarterly one. But the one you must really compare it to is to the yearly one. So yearly, 22,800. If it's monthly, 23,400. And you can see there is pretty close to a between 500 and 600 Rand difference in interest. And that is now on an amount like 15,000. So what if that amount is not 15,000, but 150,000? Or maybe 900,000. And of course, your interest will be way, way more if the interest is calculated monthly than if it's calculated on a yearly basis. Please remember these four. This you need to know for your grade 12 exams as well. Let's look at the next example.